Hello. Last week, I introduced that I wanted to spend a few weeks talking about finding your voice, your unique, independent, the voice that needs to be heard, uh, the things that you want to share, the ways you want to step up and speak your mind, share your opinion, etc. So I wanted to talk about that. Today, what I would like to focus on is the role that limiting beliefs play in us not finding our voice and using our voice. So, what the hell is a limiting belief? Good question, you. Um, just being silly. Limiting beliefs are the things that we tend to say to ourselves or believe about ourselves that put some limitation on our ability to step into space that we have every right to step into. So, a limiting belief can be as simple as I don't belong here, I'm not old enough, I don't have enough experience, they're not interested in what I'm going to say, I don't have any business having an opinion here, whatever. Sometimes those voices sound like someone else. They can sound like your mother, a coach, a teacher, an ex, whatever. But a lot of times the voice sounds like yourself. And that voice comes through and is basically trying to protect you from risk, from heartache, from fear, from embarrassing yourself, whatever. But what it does, what those voices do, that limiting belief, it steps in and puts a barrier between you, your authentic self, and being seen as such, your authentic self. And so what we want to do is really work with limiting beliefs to pull them outside of the kind of day-to-day and the habit of them and work with them and see what we can do with them so that we can find our way to our unique individual personal voice. So one of the things you need to do is sit down with your limiting beliefs with a piece of paper and say, what are some of my limiting beliefs? They're going to be the things you say to yourself that come up pretty easily when you're put under pressure. One of the ways you can do this is to sit down and imagine a few scenarios. So I'll just name some. You're going to come up with scenarios that suit your life and situation. But sit down and imagine yourself in a meeting, a business meeting, where you are the least senior person who has to make a presentation or share some piece of knowledge. Everyone else in the room is older than you, has done it longer. Maybe, if you're a woman, they're all men. If you're a man, they're all women. Whatever. What comes to your mind when you imagine standing up and saying what you need to say? Or imagine you're a mom who's out with all of your older aunties and your mother, and they're all talking about motherhood, and you have an opinion and you want to say, well, as a mom, I'm experiencing this. What will it take for you to feel like you can speak your mind and share your voice, even if it differs from all of the grandmas and aunties and your mother? So imagine you're in that scenario and imagine what you say to yourself. Is there a limiting belief there? You can be playing a new sport that you've never played before with a bunch of people who play. What comes up for you? What are you thinking when you step onto the field or the court or the pitch? So imagine a series of events where you are looking to have an opinion, but are surrounded by those who might make you pull back, right? So imagine those things, write down, hey, these are a few of my limiting beliefs, right? And write them down. Then what you want to do is you want to play with reframing them and turning them around. So if I reframe, I don't belong here, right? Or I'm not good enough. Let's try that. I'm not good enough to speak up here in this environment. Well, what if I reframe that to, I'm always open to learning and I have an opinion? It's that simple. And quite frankly, there's a freedom in saying I have an opinion because I have a willingness to be found out to be wrong, right? The problem with I'm not good enough or I don't deserve to speak up here is that what we do is we pull back and say I'm not going to risk saying something if it's not going to be correct. Whereas if I reframe it to say I'm always learning something and I have an opinion here that I want to share, there's a freedom in that to be wrong, right? And to take that risk. Also coming up with some affirmations that say, listen, I am always curious and I'm always open to learning, right? So that affirmation, if I just say that to myself, it's very different than, I'm going to be embarrassed if I'm wrong, right? So The very act of turning that phrase into something that's more true, right? About me and where I'm at will really help me to think about the limiting belief differently. Another option is to really close your eyes and visualize what will happen. What will happen? What are the possible scenarios if I speak up, if I share my thinking, if I take the risk of having an opinion and sharing my voice? What will happen? Yes, you might be embarrassed. Yes, you might say something silly. Yes, that all those things could happen. Or you might speak up and have somebody say, "That's interesting. Let's I have questions," right? And you dive into a new train of thought. Or someone else, this happens all the time, someone else might say, "I was thinking the same thing." Do you know how often I've said, "Oh, I have to ask a question, but it may be silly." I've asked my question and someone else has said, "Yeah, I was wondering that." A lot of the times that I have taken the risk, someone else has been like, even if they don't tell me till afterwards, "I was wondering the same thing." So your voice is a gift. Your voice is a gift waiting to be given and heard and experienced. So try working with your limiting beliefs and unpacking them a bit so that you can step out and have a voice. If you struggle with limiting beliefs or you have some that are overly contentious and gnarly, call me and let's talk about it. Let's spend some time working through them together. That's something that I can help you with. You can find me at leahfarmercoaching.com. You can email me at leah@leahfarmercoaching.com. Or you can ping me on Instagram or Facebook and we can talk about what that would look like. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk more about finding your voice in the coming weeks.